This is the one and only TQuest. You're tuned into the TQuest show, relatable, informative, yet entertaining. Appreciate all you guys for tuning in like each and every time you hear me in my lovely voice and get a chance to interact with me as well as my special guests that I have on my show. You know, the TQuest show is relatable, informative, yet entertaining. So I always have a special treat for you guys each and every show. But for all my new listeners, make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at TQuestGLM. Download that TQuest mobile app in your Google Play Store and your App Store. Sign up for my mailing list on my website, GodLoveMeWorld.com, and just know that I am here for you. So once you check me out, you will see your girl TQuest is kind of a big deal. I do a lot of things, and I'm pretty sure there's something I can help you with. And speaking of helping you guys, I have someone here that can definitely help a lot of you all, because if you see his accolades, today's guest, the list goes on forever and ever. We may have to do a part 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But let's see what happens during this hour. This is someone I've respected for many years. In my head, I call him my mentor, right? And it's such an honor to have him on the show today. So without further ado, I'm just going to bring him in.
Hey.
Hi. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. This is long overdue.
Yes, it is. Yes. We got to do this more often.
Absolutely. But wait. Don't even say that, because you know you don't always got that much time to doing things.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Right. I'm working on it for real.
I remember when you used to call, and I'm like, oh no, I gotta get the phone.
I'm going to get better.
Obama, and I'm like, if I miss the call, I don't know when the next one is coming, because
I'm going to get better. I promise.
I mean, we have witnesses, so we hear you talking.
Okay.
What happens? But how are you doing today?
Huh?
How are you doing today?
I've been fantastic. Life is good. I can't complain. I'm good. I'm very good.
Okay. So I just want to jump right into your stories. Right? So for the ones who don't know, let them know who you are and where you're from.
Terry Moore, by the way of Brooklyn, New York. Far Rockaway, Queens, living in the city of ATL. Been here since 1994.
Okay.
Over 30 years in the music industry, as you can tell behind me. But over 30 years, and it's a blessing. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. From Brooklyn to the ATL. ATL is a place that they always say if you're trying to be in the music industry, that's one of the places that you have to go to. You have to be at, because that's where everyone is. That's where the action's at. Do you still believe that's true?
Oh, absolutely. You know, not only I believe that we're the new Motown, but I believe that we're also the new Black Hollywood, because, you know, there's a lot of things going on in Atlanta, and from independent TV shows, independent artists, major shows. You know, Tyler Perry got one of the biggest studios down here, and he's killing it. And a lot of people don't realize, but Atlanta has over 7 movie studios, sound stages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out, because the way people talk about Atlanta, you would think Atlanta was actually a state and not a city. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
Who've never been there, they're probably picturing it as like some city in China, millions of people everywhere, cameras everywhere, because every movie, reality show is filmed in Atlanta. And I'm just like, well, when I went out there, I didn't see not one camera.
Oh yeah. You know, they hide it very well, but I've learned how you find it. When you're driving, there's these little cards on the sidewalk, and it has maybe 2 or 3 letters, and it has an arrow, and that's to let crew members know indiscreetly where they're shooting at. So it'll be like if you're driving around the city, you might see on the side of the road, it'll be a yellow card with 3 or 4 letters on it, and then the arrow will be pointing down the street. Then when you go down the street, you see another set of cards with letters, and it'll be arrow going this way. Nobody else is aware of this except the members that are looking for the set.
Wow. So you just gonna tell everybody secret just like that?
Yeah, because literally, let me tell you, I was driving about a month ago, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, they must be doing a movie out here," because I saw all the little cars all over the place. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually went to look for it, but I was like, "Nah, let me not bother. Let me, let me
Mm-hmm.
stick to what I got to do."
Horrible, horrible. No, but I definitely respect it. But for the ones who may not know, right? We got to start at the beginning of your accolades, right? Let's
Okay.
talk about little Terry, right? So I like to do this thing on the show. Back then, way back when I grow up, I want to be. What did you write in that school assignment?
When I was growing up, I actually wanted to be a novelist. I wanted to write books, novels. I wanted to be like the next Stephen King. I didn't want to do horror movies or any horror books, but I wanted to be the number one best selling on the New York Times. And that's when I was in high school. I was literally writing. Me and a friend of mine, Gregory Jones, we used to have these notebooks, and we would always writing stories. But what
Mm-hmm.
we did was we used to put our friends in the book as characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and did that for all the way up until probably high school. Got into the music industry around 2 years after high school when I started working for recording studios. And started working at recording studios. I actually worked for free in the
Mm-hmm.
recording studios and got a chance to work with Yoko Ono and Brenda K. Starr, who discovered Mariah Carey, and a jazz legend by the name of Roy Ayers. Left
Wow.
left the recording studio, went to work for Billboard magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Worked for Billboard magazine for about a year, which was amazing, fantastic, because people like Morris Day and Stacey Lattisaw would show up, and I
Mm-hmm.
worked alongside Nelson George, who was Chris Rock's business partner, and Craig Coleman, who is now running Atlantic Records. Left Billboard to go to First Priority Music, and that's when
Mm-hmm.
the doors opened up for me, and I worked with everybody from MC Light to Queen Latifah.
Wow.
Shout
Wow.
out to First Priority too.
So, but my thing is, sometimes it's all about being in the right place at the right time or just knowing the right people. And when a lot of people tell their stories, like we hear it, but it's the part of the story that people really want to hear. Like, what was that one moment or that connection that started you on your way?
TV.
Okay.
I was at a crossroad in my life. I was probably about 19, 20 years old. I'm 55, and it was like pretty much sitting home. Like I just got fired from my first corporate job, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And then I was watching the American Music Awards, and
Uh-huh.
Prince was performing. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, he looks like he's having a lot of fun and he's getting paid to do it. That's what I want to do. I want to do something that I can have a lot of fun doing, get paid to do it. I want to be in the music industry.
And who was this?
Watching them 1982 maybe. Hey,
Okay.
no. Well, when Prince came out with Purple Rain, that
Uh-huh.
was 85. That was 85. Yep,
Uh-huh.
that was 85.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who did you say that was on the TV?
Huh?
Who was on the TV?
Prince was performing.
Princess performing,
Yeah,
and
and
you
he was
was
doing
gonna
Let's
name.
Go Crazy on American Music Awards. And I was like, man, he looked like he's having a lot of fun. I need to do that. I want to be in the music industry. And that was it. That's how I got started.
Okay, so that inspired you, but what was the first step towards that direction?
First step literally was sitting down and calling 100 recording studios in New York City, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens. Hey, I want to come and work. Literally, I was like, hey, I want to come and work for free. Click. Hey, I want to come and work for free. Click. Hey, I want to click. Sometimes they wouldn't even let me get it out. Hey, I want to come click. And I called literally about 100 studios, and one guy by the name of Ralph, German guy, said,
Uh-huh.
come down. Let's give you an interview. And on the spot, he hired me to work for free, 12 in the afternoon and 12 at night, every Sunday.
To do what? Because you just said you want to work on it for free, but
I was doing everything, getting lunch for the artist, answering the phone, unlocking the studios, locking the studios after everybody went home. And but I got the opportunity to go listen in on some great session. I mean, Yoko Ono comes in and she does a session,
Mm-hmm.
and that was to me like amazing because that's the legendary wife of John Lennon from the Beatles.
Wow.
And Brenda K. Starr, who discovered Mariah Carey, and hanging out in the studio. So it was a great introduction to the music industry and learning the process of how they do a song.
Okay, okay. So I have to ask because a while ago I was interviewing someone who used to work for record labels with like Diddy and Andre and Mona Scott with Love and Hip Hop, right? And he
Hmm.
started as an intern. And I'm like, how many of those stereotypes are actually true that they just be like barking at you, you know? Like they
Hmm.
make your life live in hell. Is it really like that as a true intern, or that's just too much hype?
I mean, I didn't have that problem. I was very blessed where when I worked at the recording studio, they were fantastic. The owner, it was Evergreen Recording Studio, and they were great. But now I know Puffy, and I knew Puffy when he was working for Uptown,
Yeah.
and he was an intern for Uptown.
Hmm.
And I don't really know Andre Harrell's work ethic, but when you're working for labels and stuff, they don't play.
Mm-mm.
And yeah, so I can only imagine when he was working at Uptown, because I remember hearing a story about with Puffy, like when they started working with Jodeci, Andre Harrell wanted to dress them up looking like boys to men, like the suit on and stuff. But
Hmm.
Puffy was like, "No, let's do a little something different. Let's have them with the Timberlands and the sagging jeans." And Andre Harrell like cursed them out. Like yeah.
Yeah.
So that wasn't uncommon to get cursed out working in the industry. But it was all love because the person was just like making you grow to the next level.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is awesome. So, you know how when certain people are blessed to be in a certain position, they either just stay professional and honored to be there, but then some people have that moment when they're like starstruck. Did
Hmm.
you ever have that moment?
Yeah, I actually did. I think meeting Janet Jackson twice.
Oh.
That was a starstruck moment, but I kept it cool. And I'm trying to think of who else that I was sort of starstruck by meeting everybody. I didn't actually meet Prince. I met Sheila E. and Morris Day, but back in the days, and I still am a huge Prince fan. So anybody that came out of his camp, I was like a huge fan. I did see Prince perform a couple of times,
Hmm.
and but to be able to personally meet Sheila E. and Morris Day and Jesse Johnson from that crew, that was an honor. That was like, yeah, that's and a lot of those people I met actually before I got into the industry.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Now,
yeah.
of course, music has been around for quite some time, but you were in the industry, in my mind, I call it the special time when hip hop was really growing and MC Light was out there and you was like right there with her. Tell me about that experience.
It was amazing because I always tell people that I was on the second wave of hip hop. The
Mm-hmm.
first wave of hip hop was Houdini, Grandmaster Flash, the Furious Five. That was sort
Mm-hmm.
of the introduction of hip hop.
Yeah.
I was blessed to come in on the second wave, which was MC Light, Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince, Queen Latifah, Moni Love. And it was just amazing just to be on the road with all these artists. But it was kind of different because when you're on the road with Latifah, and it's weird calling her Latifah because I know it's La, but
Oh,
you
you
know,
don't call her
it,
Dana?
huh?
You don't call her Dana?
No, we don't even call it Dana. It's like, yo, what's up, La, what's up, like that. So everybody calls her La, but
Mm-hmm.
she's like a sister, and so it wasn't like when you was on the road. It was like, and you're doing these shows. It was sort of like, wow, I'm watching my younger sister doing her thing on stage. It was a look of admiration when you're on the road and you see them perform on stage. Like, wow, that's my younger brother. That's my younger sister. Everybody doing their thing. So yeah, and it was great. We had a lot of great times. It was sometimes it was a little wild on the road. Definitely,
Oh, you care to share or?
definitely a little wild, but yeah.
Okay, okay. So, what was your exact position while being on the road with these artists?
I was actually a publicist. So I was a publicist for First Priority Music, which
Mhm.
was an independent record label out of Brooklyn. We were distributed by Atlantic, and that was the label that MC Light was on, and Milk and Giz from Audio 2 was on it, Positive K, Mishi Me, MC Peaches, The Alliance, Kings of Swings, Lazy Lay, and Boss Shaw. I got to make sure I shout everybody out. I don't want nobody getting mad at me.
That is horrible. I always said that when I win an award, that I'm gonna make sure my list is very short, so no one can say I forgot about them. I'm like,
Right,
shout out to fans, shout out to the people who voted, shout out to my team, shout out to my family.
right,
Period.
exactly. Exactly, because somebody can be like, "Yo, I didn't get a shout out." Be like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Absolutely. My grandmother did that when I did an article, and she was like, "Yeah, I read it. Yeah, yeah, you said something nice to your family, not me in particular, but I'm just like, really?"
Right, right, exactly,
So,
exactly. Yes.
yeah, it's team too much, but that is super incredible. So I have to ask you, when it comes to working in that industry and everything being so fast paced, were there moments you'd be like, you know what, this is a little team too much?
No, because I never thought of it as work. We were just having so much fun. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'm a kid from Brooklyn. A lot of people on your channel don't know, but I'm actually disabled. And so, a lot of people told me because of my disability with cerebral palsy that, oh, you're not going to be able to do this. And
Uh-huh.
so, here I am riding around in limousines and, went to the NBA All Star game in '92 and I'm in California at the best hotels. And, it, we were just loving it. We were just, first of all, we couldn't even get past that you were paying us to do this. Like, wow, wait a minute, you're going to put us on a tour bus? We're going to
Mm-hmm.
travel all over the country and we're going to get paid for this? Oh, dude, I'm in. So yeah, it never got too much. It was just yeah, it wasn't a 9 to 5. I go to work sometimes at the label. I walk in the office 11 a.m. after
Mm-hmm.
sleeping all day, but I didn't leave until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning,
Mm,
like that.
okay.
So yeah, it was definitely different.
You think it's still like that where people are enjoying so much of the culture and the industry and the business that it still feels like fun and not really work? Or you think because the times has changed, it's a little different?
Oh, I definitely think times has changed because back then, first of all, we wasn't getting paid anywhere what the artists are getting paid now,
Hmm.
and today artists have so much pressure on them because there's so much of a dollar sign attached to it.
Hmm.
There's so many artists right now are like they're the endorsements and the concert tours and they really just got a lot. So to them, I think to them, I mean, I believe some of them are having fun, but I think the majority of them, this is a job now. This is really a job,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think it's overwhelming for a lot. I mean, you think about it now when you think about today's artists. There's a lot of artists that are struggling with depression. There's a lot of artists that are, they're going to rehab, and we didn't have that back in back in my days. You never heard of an artist disappearing like, oh my goodness, what happened to so and so? Oh,
Mm,
I mean, we was just having so much fun with it.
yeah. The way it's supposed to be.
Right,
It's just like, don't be so sucked into likes and followers and clicks and streams that you forget that you do music for a reason. Either it's something that you love, your therapy, or whatever. And nowadays, it's so much just about who's watching and who's judging that. Like, what happened to the love? What happened to the passion?
right,
you
right,
know and it is a
right,
lot because I tell people, I'm like, it's interesting how people always want to emulate the people they see on TV screens and this that, and the third, but if you notice, those are the ones, like you said, are more depressed than your average. Those are the
yeah,
ones you see in select a few taking their lives, just like Robin Williams and Brittany Murphy and all them, all this crazy stuff. I'm like, Well, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors because
Oh
even
yeah.
though this seems like a great industry, it's a lot that we deal with that a lot of people don't know.
They don't. They really don't have a clue. There's so much stuff that goes on behind the scenes
Hmm.
that as a manager for an artist, a good manager, the main artist never knows really the majority of stuff that that good manager blocks for them.
Hmm.
You know, that good manager is the roadblock for a lot of stuff that I'll, for example, and I don't know this to be true, but you know, let's say Cardi B's manager, let's say he's a good manager,
Hmm.
and she probably has no idea all the stuff that he had to put a roadblock up like that. You know, and I'm just using her as a hypothetical example, but yeah, I mean, a good manager is going to stop it where you know the artist never knows. Like, wow, they tried that. Wow, they tried to negotiate that. They
Hmm.
tried to stick me out of my money because that good manager worked that deal. But it seems like the artists today are dealing with more of the business, and they're dealing with all of the BS.
Yeah. Even if they're signed to a label, you still have to act like an independent artist regardless, because
Yeah,
it's showing you guys that it is a lot of work. It ain't fun and games. So you definitely have to pay attention to what's going on. And not just with like managers, but with publicists, PR. There's a
hmm,
lot of stuff people do behind the scenes, promoters.
yeah,
It's a lot to it. Just like sometimes when I used to throw events, and if you're still there in the beginning, they notice that I'm like calm. They're like, "You're all right." I'm like, I'm fine. You sure?
right,
I'm like, yes, I'm fine. And I'm just letting
right,
you know, like, yo, just let me do my job. And just let me make sure everything's good when it comes to the bar, when it comes to the owner, the bouncers, the DJs, the acts, like the music. I have to can handle all of this. Okay.
right,
So I
mhm,
understand that I'm always so happy go lucky, but it's like grind time, business mode. Doors
right,
is supposed to open. I got to make sure everything is straight. And I'm only one person. So
right,
I'm good, because I have to make sure all this is great for you to be great.
right,
And a lot of people
absolutely.
don't, they think it's so easy because of the way you're like, oh, you must love what you do. I'm like, yeah, I love what I do. But if you only understand what I had to do to get
It's a
here.
business. It's definitely a business now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely a business. So, what are some things, want to be a little serious before we jump into some fun stuff? What are some of those moments that that you experienced that wasn't so happy go lucky that someone is probably going through right now? Like, dang, he went through that. I'm going through that right now.
Okay, so let me see if I get this right. As far as an artist is concerned,
No, just you in general being in this business for 30 plus years.
I'll tell you one of the things that I think that is just over the last 3 decades of being in the industry, going on 4 decades now, is that what I notice and what I see for a lot of artists is that they're not treating this as a business. Um, and what's happening is that because they're not treating it as a business, a lot of them are getting ran over, where they could be so much higher than what they are. But the thing about it is, they're basically like I've had artists say to me, "I just want to make music. I really don't want to hear about the business." But it's a business, and you got to learn the business. And you know, unless you wanted to be a hobby, if you wanted to be a hobby, and listen, I play the keyboards.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not trying to be the next Prince. I play strictly for my enjoyment.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to get a gig at the next, at the Apollo Theater. So, but it's just a hobby. But now, if I had planned to say I want to join a band and I really want to be the next high keyboard player,
Hmm.
I need to study the business. Like, for
Absolutely.
example, if I go to an artist that is I'll give you a perfect example. If I go to an artist who claims that they are artists and they say, hey, I'm in the industry, and
Hmm.
I'll say to them, great, who is James Lassiter? Well, I don't know who James Lassiter is. If I say to them, who is, everybody knows Andre Harrell. But who is Craig Coleman? Who is
Mm-hmm.
Greg Philligaines?
Mm-hmm.
These are names, if you're in the industry, you should know. Because James Lassiter is Will Smith's business partner.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Philligaines is one of the baddest keyboard players around, and he has played on everybody's, from Michael Jackson to Patti LaBelle.
Yeah.
Craig Coleman is running Atlantic Records right now. So
Mm-hmm.
what I find that pains me is that a lot of artists who get into the industry really don't study their craft. Because
Okay.
you could be an artist sitting next to Sylvia Rhone, who is one of the most powerful black women in the music industry,
Mm-hmm.
sitting next to her at Starbucks, and because you don't study the craft, you don't realize that you're sitting next to one of the most powerful. Sylvia Rhone was the first black woman to ever own a major record label through
Mm-hmm.
Atlantic Records.
Okay.
People should know who Scooter Braun is. Okay, that's the thing that pains me, and I think because artists that don't study, and when I say artists, I mean songwriters, producers, anybody in the entertainment side, because they don't study their craft, they make life very, very difficult for them.
Absolutely.
Oh, man, let the all keyboard players, absolutely, for real.
So here's my question for you, right? And I'm glad
Mhm.
you're on here. I understand that we're supposed to pay homage to people who came before us, correct? I understand that when you're going to be doing music, you got to realize it's a music business. So you have to know the business side.
Mhm.
But when it comes to knowing everyone who came before you, is it really a bad thing that you don't remember everyone that came before you? Because now time is going, like 2000 was 20 years ago. You know,
Mhm.
so are you saying that new artists today should know music from the 80s, 90s, 2000, 2010, 2020, everyone in position, who worked with her, who's manager? Is it really a bad thing that they don't know everyone in their positions or who they work with? Because after a while, in all due respect, it's going to be a lot to keep up with. On top of knowing your craft, learning your craft, everything that's going on in today's society, plus life itself, it's a lot. Does that make sense?
It does, but the thing about it is, you should know the majority. You can't, of course, you can't know each and every person in the industry. But if I'll give you a good example,
Okay.
um, if I'm at an event,
Mm-hmm.
and I tell this story often, because I do a lot of music business consulting. If you're an artist at an event and you know Will Smith is going to be there, one of the things that you'll do is you'll try to get to this event because you know Will Smith is hosting it or he's speaking at this event. And you're sitting in the audience and you're 300 other people. And when Will Smith finishes, he's going to get up from the stage. And of course, everybody's going to get up and rush to the stage because they want to take pictures. They want to shake his hand. Hey, you got a demo. Hey, I'm an artist. Can you do this now? Why you got 300 people that are in the corner trying to get Will Smith's attention? You, as an artist, should be looking to the right where you see this one guy standing in the corner and you say, that's James Lassiter,
Mm-hmm.
the guy that started Overbrook Entertainment with Will Smith, the guy that went to school with Will Smith. That's That's JL. That's what we call him in the industry. That's JL.
Mm-hmm.
You go up to JL and you say to JL, you and I have a mutual friend. You don't say, "Hey, I'm an artist. Hey, I'm coming out. I've got this. Check out my music." You don't even do all of that. You just simply say, "You and I have a mutual friend." And because you've been studying your craft, and because you've been networking with other people in the industry that's on that level, when you say to JL, he's going to say, "Well, who's our mutual friend?" And you're going to say, Terry Moore from First Priority Music. Oh, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Terry Moore. Yeah, I know that. A totally different conversation. Totally different conversation because now you're networking with him.
Mm-hmm.
While everybody in the corner trying to get Will Smith attention. You got his business partner's undivided attention. You're not pushing your music. You're not trying to sell him. You're basically, hey, I'm working with, Terry Moore. We're doing some things. And at some point he's going to say, tell Terry I said, what's up? Oh, yeah, I talked to him yesterday. He now looks at you at this level now. And you start saying, yeah, I was hanging out with Craig Coleman about a week ago when I went up to New York. He's going to be like, oh, yeah, I know Craig. And you're like, oh, yeah, when I went to California, I was hanging out with Shakim, Queen Latifah's manager. Yeah, me and Shakim, and he'll say me and Shakim had lunch. Still, it's a different conversation.
Yeah.
You're just saying to him, because if he says to you, well, do you know, if you say to him, yeah, I want to do some work with Latifah, and he said, great, do you know Shakim? You're like, Shakim, no. Who's Shakim? In his mind, he's going to be thinking, you're in the industry, but you don't know Latifah's manager. Like that. So, yeah, that's why.
Okay. I still, in all due respect, think it was so hard to know everybody's manager. I mean, you have to do your research, of course, right? You should know certain names and certain heavy hitters for sure. But all I'm saying is,
Hey, listen, I don't have it around me, but one of my industries that I'm in is Legal Shield, right? I am constantly, because I deal with a lot of artists, but I am constantly reading books about my industry. I know the key players in the industry. If I'm walking down the street, I know that's Spencer Iverson. I know that's Darnell Self. That's Mike Humes. Because these are the power players in that industry. Yeah. Those are the multimillionaires. So if I say that I'm in this industry of, let's say that I'm in the industry of making beverages. I'm in the beverage industry. I should know everything about Coca-Cola and Pepsi.
Everything. No, I totally get it. Because even sometimes, you know me, my schedule can get a little thick.
I know, absolutely.
On the computer, what you doing? Researching what? Are you in college? I'm like, I didn't realize you had to be in college to research.
Absolutely, yeah.
Everything in life is always changing and evolving, and you have to try your best to keep up, because nowadays everything is at a more fast pace.
Yeah.
So
yeah, one of the things I definitely suggest all that's listening, subscribe to Billboard, subscribe to an industry magazine like Billboard, and then you're going to get the key players. Yeah, definitely subscribe to Billboard or one of the industry magazines where they're always spotlighting an executive. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, all the key players like yourself, correct?
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. So I appreciate you coming on here to talk about the business and dropping knowledge and jewels, but I really want to focus on you. Okay. Now, you said when you were growing up, you wanted to be an author, and it came true. So let's talk to the people about your books.
Well, actually, when I was growing up, I wanted to be, like I say, the next big novelist, but I did write a book. I actually only wrote one book called Fearless Dreams. And the book was based on my experience in the music industry. So can I tell you a chapter from one of the books?
Of course you can.
All right, so I'm going to tell you the story. So I was working for a record label in Atlanta, but I was also doing freelance writing for a magazine. And there was a young lady that was an up-and-coming artist that I wanted to interview for the magazine. So I called a friend of mine that worked at the label and said, hey, I want to interview your artist. And she said, well, you know what? She'll be in Atlanta. And she'll be performing. So great. Let me give you the number to the hotel. Her mom is going to pick up, and just tell her mom that you're going to interview her. So sure enough, I sat down that night, getting ready for the interview, put my pen and paper. I had a bunch of notes that I was going to ask this young artist. And when I called her, mom did pick up the phone, and I said, "Hey, I'm here to interview so and so." And she said, "Okay." And the young lady got on the phone, and we had such a great conversation that in the middle of me taking notes, I literally stopped writing. We were laughing and joking like old friends. And this went on for maybe about a little more than an hour. And before she hung up, she said, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" And I said, "Oh, I'm not doing anything." She said, "Why don't you come to the show and hang out with me?" Have I told you this story before? Okay, cool. All right. So she said, "Why don't you come hang out with me?" And I said, "That'll be great." She said, "Yep, we'll hang out backstage and everything." So I hung up, but about 30 minutes before I was supposed to leave to go meet up with her, I got lazy. And I was like, you know what? I don't really feel like going, and then I'm going to be out so late. I'm just going to go home. I'll see her another time. Well, the another time never came. Because the young lady was Aaliyah.
What?
Yeah.
OMG.
Yeah.
Wow.
For now, that's the chapter in my book. But for a long time, I'll tell you how you have to sort of look at things different. For a long time, I couldn't watch an Aaliyah video or listen to an Aaliyah song because we talked so well on the phone. It was just an amazing connection. Nothing romantic, just on a friendship basis. And for a long time, like her song would come on, and I would just change the station, or her video would come on, I would change it. But I recently started thinking about maybe a year or two ago that what if I would have went to the show and hung out with her? What if we would have really became really good friends?
Yeah.
What if she would have said to me, "Hey, I'm doing a video in the Virgin Islands. Why don't you come hang out with me?" What if I would have went to the Virgin Islands to hang out with her and been one of the people on the plane?
You know what? We can think things like that, but it's kind of like a domino effect.
It is.
If you were in her life and actually hanging out with her, everything would have never went that way during that time.
Absolutely.
Every day going forward would have been different.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So it's for a long time. Like I say, I was thinking like, man, I should have went. Man, I should have went. Like I'll give you another quick one if I can. Can I?
Of course you can. It's all about you today.
So, I was with Light one year. She was doing. Her and her group was doing a show at Showtime at the Apollo. This is all from my book, which I gotta really rewrite and put it back out there. I love how you
call her Light. For the ones who don't know, his friend Light is MC Light. Because you just so used to calling him Light.
Yeah, Light.
You gotta be clear for the listeners.
Light. So we were doing a taping of Showtime at the Apollo. And when you're at the Apollo doing the TV show Showtime at the Apollo, they have a big basement that they call it the green room. And it's literally like you're down there with all the other groups that are performing. And one of the groups that were in town, one of the guys was really he was actually launching his movie career. So all of us are like, it's like 4 or 5 different groups hanging out in this gigantic green room. And Showtime and Apollo told us, "Hey, you guys can take the next 2 or 3 hours off before we actually start taping, because we had just finished rehearsing. So come back in about 3 hours, and we're going to start the actual taping." So we were like, "Hey, you know what? We should go to the movies. Meet DJ K-Rock, MC Light DJ K-Rock, her other DJ Master T, and one of the bodyguards. Hey, let's go to the movie." We asked this gentleman, "Hey, we're going to the movies. Do you want to come hang out with us?" He's like, yeah, I'm going to come. But he didn't show up, which was cool. But when we got back to the Apollo, after watching this movie, I knew that he was going to be a superstar. And I remember when we got back to the Apollo, I was just telling this dude, like, "Yo, that movie that you was in, oh my goodness, man, you about to. He was so carefree. He just knew that he was on the verge. He just knew that this movie was going to do it for him. and it was Tupac.
Wait, who was the actor?
Tupac.
Tupac. Oh my God, you just know everybody.
Tupac. When he was with Digital Underground. He came in town. Yeah, he came into town to do Digital Underground, but he knew from Juice because the buzz was. I mean, when we walked out, because we went to see the movie in Times Square.
Yeah.
And when we walked out the theater, we were blown away. We was like, Bishop is crazy.
Wow.
But we went back to the Apollo, and he just knew.
Yeah.
He was like on a level that night of, they're just finding out about me.
Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, he's like, yeah, he was like, they're just finding out what I knew all the time.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Yo, make sure everyone who's listening, go purchase the book.
I gotta rewrite the book. It's not out, but I need to find some time to put it on Amazon.
Yes, you do. Yes,
I do. I definitely do.
You know, one of the beautiful things I love about you is the fact that even though you've been in this industry for a long time, and you've met so many different people and experienced so much, you still remain so loving and so humble no matter what. And that speaks volumes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, the God can give it to you quick and he can take it away quick. So I stay humble. I stay humble. Because I remember where I was when I first tried to get into this business. So I remember. So I stay humble.
Yeah, I bet. So, Mister, I want to tap into this before we get into some fun things later. Let's talk about your business.
Okay.
The first one I want to talk about is the music consulting business, and then I want to get into the legal shield.
Okay, cool. So as a music business consultant, what I do is primarily help artists by guiding their careers. I tell them a lot about marketing. I tell them a lot about publicity, management. Sort of as a consultant, they'll call me up and say, hey, I'm getting ready to go into a meeting. What should I look for? This is what you should expect from the meeting. I work with a lot of young ladies that are artists, and I try to keep them safe. I'm about to go to this guy's house for a meeting, and I'm like, nope. Somebody just said Big Mike. Who knows about Big Mike? Oh, what's up, Big Mike? I'm sorry. Look, you know what? Let me tell you why I said that. Let me tell you real quick story. Okay. Milk from Audio 2 had a bodyguard named Big Mike. So that's what made me think about that. So anyway, let me go back so as a consultant, what I do is pretty much try to look out and protect artists' careers and make sure they don't get the shim-sham. On the legal shield side, it works two different ways. Majority of artists fail. And when I say artists, again, I'm meaning anybody in the entertainment industry, DJs, producers. The majority of them fail because they sign bad contracts. Big print give it, the big prints give it, the bold print, the bold print give it, the small print take it away. And there are literally thousands of artists signing away their music careers. A lot of people don't know that Jackson 5 doesn't own the name Jackson 5. Motown owns it. Because that's when they went over to CBS Records from Motown, they couldn't even call themselves the Jackson 5. They had to call themselves the Jacksons. A lot of people don't know the Sugar Hill Gang don't own their name. You know the song Shannon, Let the Music Play?
Yeah.
She's never been paid for that song.
What?
As long as it's been playing on the radio, she has never been paid for that song. So with Legal Shield, when I talk to most artists, hey, do you have an attorney? Majority of us say, no, I can't afford one. So let's get you on a legal plan for $35 a month so you can have access to not one lawyer, but a law firm. And the law firm is not just in one state, but every state in the United States, you have access to a law firm. So if you got an issue going on in California with your artist in New York, you can contact the law firm in California to represent you. And there's a lot of things that we do, from looking at your contracts to talking to you about trademark, copyright. But one of the biggest features is you're leaving the studios at 2 o'clock in the morning, you get pulled over, and you can contact your attorney at 2 o'clock in the morning. Hey, I just got pulled over by the police. So when I present this to a lot of people in the entertainment industry, a lot of them will say, hey, I need to tell my other artist friends about this. I need to tell other people about this in the entertainment industry. And then they wind up joining the business with me and they earn a compensation for it.
Mm-hmm.
Very good compensation. We had a young lady, I'll tell you this real quick, a young lady from New York who was homeless about a year ago and singing on the trains for money, singer songwriter, and she wind up joining Legal Shield
Mm-hmm.
and offered it to all her artist friends, people in the entertainment industry. And last week she hit 50,000 doing this business. So artists need the service, but they also need the business opportunity to make extra money, and that's what I do.
Wow.
That's what I
So
do. That's what I
what?
do.
That's what you do. That's one of the things that you do.
Yeah, one of the things
You
that I'm
know, because
streamlining it. I've cut a lot of things out, but I'm streamlining it.
I see. I see.
Gotcha.
So if we can do maybe a quick rundown of all the things that you do.
Okay, cool. You know what? It's not as much as people think. So I only have four major businesses. The first major business is I'm a public speaker. So I talk about my disability with cerebral palsy, and I talk about the music industry. That's been shut down because of COVID. The other thing is that I work a lot with First Priority Music. When you get a chance, add First Priority Music on IG. One of the coolest record labels out there. They got a clothing line, so we do a lot of projects together. And then the other two things is music business coaching and Legal Shield, independent associate, getting artists protected so they're not signing bad contracts. I only do four things right now. I've cut out a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I noticed. I'm just like, I've
I
known
cut
you
out a
for
lot of
years
stuff.
now.
Right.
I'm like,
I got to stay focused. Yeah, a jack of all trades wind up doing nothing.
well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't consider it
Robert said only
nothing.
four. Yeah, for real.
I still think it's credible because that's what I was telling people. They're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Organizing." What do you mean? I'm like, "Because you guys praise me for having so many hats, but wearing too many hats eventually is going to tilt and fall. So I got to make sure they're up there properly, and I'm always trying to consolidate so it makes sense. I'm
Mhm.
enjoying what I'm doing
Okay,
and being successful at what I'm doing because there's no point in wearing so many hats if you're going to wear yourself thin.
absolutely.
And I want to make
Absolutely.
sure like I'm still loving it. I guess it's a business,
Yeah.
but like even as a personality, even though some people hit me up, I want to be interested. I'm like, yeah, I get it, but sometimes I like to hand select my guest because I know it's going to be an incredible experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like with you, I'm just
Absolutely.
like I've been on the waiting list for 15 years to get you on the show. And I'm just like, come on. But the one thing I do love is that throughout the years, you always be like, hey, I'm just checking in. How
Yeah, I
you
got
doing?
to.
How you feeling?
I got
Catching
to.
up.
Yes, I got to
What's
check in
going
on you.
on? And I'm
Yes,
just like,
you
you know
know.
what? I
Hey,
value that stuff.
we
I
need we,
value
we
it
need
that
people to do more of that. But yeah, definitely,
much. Mhm.
I got to check on you to make sure you're good.
Absolutely. And especially someone you
Absolutely.
who is quite busy, it really do speak volumes.
Appreciate
So I just want to say I appreciate you.
it.
I
Thank
know
you.
I've said it
Likewise.
before, but I'll say it live. So let's get into some fun stuff, right?
All right, I'm with it. What's up? What's
All
up?
right. It is time to clock out. And it is the weekend. You can go anywhere for 3 days, no business involved. Where would you go?
Okay, so I can go anywhere I want to. Money's not an
Anywhere.
object.
Anywhere. Anything.
Paris. I'm going to Paris.
You go to Paris?
Going to Paris.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Now you're
Right.
in Paris.
Yeah, I'm teaching myself French, so I need to get into the culture. So I stay out
Okay.
there for
Have
a
you
couple.
been
We probably
before?
only stay for 3 days. 3 days. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I'll stay for 3 days.
Okay. Have you been to Paris before?
Never been.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, that's on my
That was
list.
my first
Or B.
trip out of the country.
Well,
I went to Paris. I remember we had to stop in Germany, and then I went to Paris when I was like, I believe 14,
oh yeah,
15.
that's my second. Germany is second for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, thank you. I was just like, when it comes to Paris, I'm like, I need to go. Pretty much every trip I've ever been on, I have to do it again as an adult because back then, it was a little weird, quiet, nerdish, not really, as cool as I am today.
Right.
And I'm like, I
Yeah.
want to enjoy it for what it's supposed to be. And I remember going to the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre and stuff. I'm like, nah, I really need to go back and truly experience it like an
Yeah.
adult. Because things is different when you're an
Yeah.
adult.
Things are definitely different. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so let's remix it. It's the weekend, but you're home. What is on the agenda for you to do in Terry me time?
Okay, so this is my me relaxing
Mm-hmm.
on the sofa, butter pecan ice cream,
Hey,
watching Netflix, and hoping that it's raining outside
why are you hoping that it's raining?
because it's the best sleep when it's raining. So after I eat my butter pecan ice cream and watch the Netflix movie, grab the blanket on the sofa and knock out for a few hours. Absolutely.
Okay,
Right.
okay. Now,
You get the best sleep on when it's thunder and lightning outside.
okay, so speaking of Netflix, right?
Hmm.
My favorite category is rom com, romantic comedy, right? What's your favorite?
I'm probably definitely watching sci-fi
Hmm.
or watching some type of sci-fi. Like I was watching something a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago. Charlene Theron had it was a movie where they couldn't die. Like
Hmm.
it was like her and three other guys. Somebody, if you remember the name of the movie,
Are you
um,
talking about Wanted?
huh?
Wanted?
No, it was a movie where on Netflix where they couldn't die, and it was like they had been alive. I'm looking for somebody to put it in. They had
No,
been.
they're loving your butter pecan and
Are they
rain
loving
and
my butter
planes.
pecan? That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, I'm gonna find it for you, but it's
Okay.
the The Old Guard. That's what it's called.
Oh,
Hold on, let me show you
okay.
the picture. It was called The Old Guard. Hold on, can I?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's it right there.
That be coming up on Netflix.
Oh, you gotta watch it. It's dope. You gotta watch it.
Okay, I'll
You
see what I
gotta
can do.
watch it. It's definitely dope. Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah.
If it's not, I'm definitely gonna be like, "Scare me."
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, everybody that's in the timeline, watch. I see Robin knows what I'm talking about. He was like, "Oh, geez, yeah, it's definitely good. Watch it.
Hmm.
Let me know. Let me
Okay,
know."
I will definitely do that. Now
Yes.
it's time for me to get in your business a little bit more.
Okay. Come on
It is
through.
time for you to plan a date, all right?
Okay. Okay.
And this is someone that you enjoy, her company, everything about her, right? And you want to put a smile on her face, but you want to bring her into your world, your romantic world, right?
Hmm.
Walk me through some of that date.
Most likely a helicopter ride over Atlanta. Yeah. Thank you, David. I
Oh,
appreciate that. Shout out to David. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely a helicopter ride over Atlanta. I did it a couple of times. Flew an airplane that was dope. But the helicopter ride was skydiving. Helicopter. I got this thing with height, even though I'm afraid of height. I guess it's me pushing myself, but definitely a bed and breakfast up in the mountains. I'm in Atlanta, so there's a lot of mountains here.
Mhm.
Like I said, I'm from New York, but I love the mountains and all the trees, and so it would have to definitely be helicopter ride, a bed and breakfast, and definitely a cruise because I love going on cruises.
All right.
Love
So this
them.
bed and breakfast, is it at a place or you're the one cooking the breakfast?
Bed and breakfast is actually a place. If you Google online bed and breakfast places, they have them all
Hmm.
over the world. They literally have them all over the world, like in Canada and London. And there's these little houses. Now, I shouldn't say houses, but they're these houses like a personal house. I know I keep bringing up I'm going to show
Yeah,
bed and
I've
breakfast.
heard of bed and breakfast, but then sometimes
It
you,
could be like this, like an old house,
yeah.
and
Okay.
they rent out the rooms, but they
Hmm.
serve breakfast the next morning, bed and breakfast, like that.
Now, is
Yeah.
it what type of breakfast? Continental bougie, or we
Yeah,
taking
it's
this
not.
cover with
Unless
fish
you
and
know, keep it
grits.
real. Unless you go to a black bed and breakfast, you're really. If you go to, not trying to be crazy here, but black bed and breakfast, you getting some grits and some eggs. Other bed and breakfast, you're getting some continental, maybe some toast and some, like that. But yeah, so
I
maybe
need
some
my fish
eggs
and
with a little
grits.
cheese and something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely need
but
my
yeah,
fish
they're
and
all over
grits.
the world. If you
But
Google
we
them,
gotta go to
they're
the
really a
black.
lot better than hotels.
Okay.
Much better.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I look at you as a mogul in this industry. I look at you just like
Thank
an
you.
incredible man in general, right?
Thank you.
We know there's a lot of people that's been through things, going through things, and still trying to get out of things, still
Mhm.
fighting demons every single day. So I need you to give them some real, raw words of encouragement.
Okay, absolutely. For those of you that's online, and I'm assuming that everybody is on here is part of the entertainment industry. Is that right? For the most
Usually,
part.
yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. For the
I
most
ain't
part.
got no regular friends.
For the most part. This industry is not for the weak at heart. It is an industry that is very callous, an industry that is very spiteful. 90% of the people in the industry are pretending that they're making it. They're not really making it. Um, you got to have thick skin to be in the entertainment industry, to be in the music industry. One of the things that I am very blessed is, even with my disability, and you can't really tell what my disability is until you see me walking, but I am very thankful that people like Will Smith when he was Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince, Latifah, like I say, we call her La Light, Busta Rhymes when he was with Leaders of the New School, Puffy, never treated me different. They always treated me as one of their own, and you know, I never felt any different than when I was hanging out with them, and Will, hanging up, hugging up on me, and what's up, man? What's going on? And La, who's like a big sister. Well, dang, I think La's the younger sister, but they never treated me different.
Yeah,
And you have to really, really be able to take rejection. Okay,
absolutely,
no
absolutely.
matter what business you do, it's a numbers game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when I'm doing Legal Shield, I literally talk to literally hundreds of people every week, and not everybody says yes to it.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I'll say that some people will say no, I don't need an attorney, but then they'll come back to me a couple of days later and say, hey, I got a speeding ticket, and I'm like, I can, I mean, that's after the
What is
fact.
the attorney supposed to do with the
Like
speeding
that,
ticket?
huh?
What is the attorney supposed to do with the speeding ticket?
What about speeding tickets?
What is the attorney supposed to do with your speeding ticket?
Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. So if you're a Legal Shield member and you get a speeding ticket, the attorney will actually go to court for you or with you to make sure that you don't get any points on your license, and to also try to reduce the fine. So let's say, for example, you're in Atlanta, per se, you get a speeding ticket in California.
Mm-hmm.
You can call up your law firm in Atlanta. Hey, I just got a speeding ticket in California. They'll say, hey, send us the ticket, and then they'll go to court for you in California. I'm in Atlanta.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Now I'm in Atlanta, and I'm very heavy on the gas pedal, but it's the dopest feeling to walk up into traffic court with an attorney. Because let me tell you, when you walk up into traffic court with an attorney, one, you go first.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to wait the whole day until they call your name.
Yeah.
So you literally go and sit up front.
You VIP in the court.
Yeah, and the attorney goes up to the judge that they're having this conversation, and then he tells you, hey, come on with me, and then he'll walk you back out to court. He said, this is what we were able to work out for you. And you're like, okay, cool. You're literally in and out. So yeah, so that's one of the things they do. But going back to, it's a numbers game. If you're an artist,
Uh-huh.
it's a numbers game. Not
Yeah.
everybody's gonna like your music. Not everybody's not gonna like your image. You're gonna hear people say, you'll never make it more than you hear people say you're going to make it. So you have to be like, yeah, on to the next one.
Yes. So right now we have to actually end the show because the hour is done.
Oh man, no.
No, it's fine because you already agreed that you're going to come on the show again, right?
Huh?
You agree that you're going to come on the show again?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Still, you got me.